This show is a textile show created from textile people. It's not simply a trade show. You can see the love in the details, how it has been created, and the passion that visitors bring into this show. You're here at our Italian bar, which is one of the main meeting points that we created here as a come-together place at Performance Days.
What should they not miss this year?
So we create a lot of breakout session in special areas, right? We think that nowadays the people, if they come to a show, the main point is what kind of knowledge can they learn when they go to an event. It has become more important today, the information advantage that you can get from an event for you personally than just meeting your trade partners. So we spend a lot of time throughout the year to develop special interest areas. And some of them, for example, are the Reality Zone. It's a circularity workshop in Hall 2, which is dedicated as a really workshop atmosphere. It's so intimate also in a size that you dare to ask questions. So sometimes on the main panel, when too many people meet, you don't create an atmosphere of question and answering. So we wanted to have breakout sessions where people don't leave after the panel, so that people stay 2 hours and ask questions and meet who is in the audience. We see that these kind of formats are very well accepted, and our industry is in the need at the moment for so much education.
Can you tell us more about the workshops that you're leading today for Performance Days and what they mean for the industry?
So Accelerated Circularity is a nonprofit focused on textile to textile recycling. Our workshops are about bringing the systems to scale so that we can get the highest post-consumer content in product as possible, which is the next frontier.
It is. And how did you have a good attendance? Are people interested? Do you think the industry is ready for this?
There is tons of interest, and I think legislation is really going to help us propel textile to textile recycling. Lots of interest.
So there's a clear link with legislation,
Yes.
and that is coming. So we'll go and talk to the people about legislation to see how that helps.
Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you very much. It's all wool.
Yeah, all wool.
Recycled wool, right?
Wool insulation made of recycled Norwegian wool that we work together with another company who collects the wool, and we're doing the wool insulation out of it.
And what's the name of the other company that you collaborate with?
It's Circle.
Oh, it's Circle. Okay.
Yeah.
So how does that work? How do you get...
They collect the recycled wool in Norway from brands that work with wool, and they have rests of production over.
Yeah.
Right, and so they collect the wool, and we make the lavalan with recycled wool out of it. It's produced in Germany.
So everything happens in Europe. It's Norwegian wool.
Exactly.
Is it Norwegian wool to start with, or is it wool in Norway?
No, it's Norwegian wool.
It's Norwegian.
Yeah, the brands they collect the wool from our Norwegian brands working with Norwegian wool.
Awesome. This sounds. And in terms of performance, is it equivalent to other types of products?
It's equivalent. You can compare it to, well, all our products are comparable with polyester and down, but wool has very specific functional highlights, let's say like this, and the recycled wool is the same. So the product is made 50% virgin wool, 30% recycled wool, and 20% PLA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Have you
corn-based PLA, let's say like this. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
It's just phenomenal. We think we put into a schedule what is relevant and people turn up. Sometimes we hit and miss, we get a dud. But the thing that surprises me is we get people turning up in great numbers on really odd subjects. Like this morning we started with 2 what we would call quiet presentation, because no one comes at the start of the day. So we had one on recycling technology and one on EU legislation. The place was packed. We don't have a formula. If we think it's interesting, we invite them in. and we just seem to be nerdish enough to invite the right people.
That sounds awesome. What was the highlight for you this year? What's your favorite talk that you've heard so far on day one?
My favorite talk was a panel. I much prefer panels because we build on what people say. And we were honoured to have Katie from the EOG, Phil from Colour Connection, and John from Ownstein. And they were talking about the dye industry and the technicalities of the dye industry. The dye industry has bad visuals. We've all seen polluted rivers. There's amazing innovation going on, but very little of it goes to bulk. So there's some great stuff going on, and we now have technically a third way to dye. We used to have natural dyes and synthetic dyes. We now have bacterial dye, which is stronger than natural, but without the problem of synthetic.
That sounds super interesting. What else was there today? I heard there was a talk about durability. How do you measure durability?
Mark went into this in great detail, and full respect to Mark is Mark Taylor from the University of Leeds, which is the most technical fabric university in the UK. He talked about the various applications. Now on durabilities, I can bore people stupid. I think there are 4 durabilities. We have physical durability that everyone can imagine. We have cultural durability, which is when something goes out of fashion. We have fit durability, and when you're like me and things expand, that comes into your favourite pair of jeans. But the most interesting one is emotional durability, which is how long do you still love that product to keep wearing it for. The French, who we like to rubbish, actually have the best system. They are first in the market. They are doing things in advance of anyone else. Nothing's yet set, but we're mixing the 4 durabilities. And the whole point is the longer we keep stuff, the better it is. Even if you've got a really bad product, if you wear it for 10 years, each year is just 1/10 of that product's impact. So it's an unwritten science, it's moving forward, we like it.
And those that were not able to see the talks today can watch them on the website?
Yeah, the advantage is that you can play them back, you can understand them, and if you suffer from insomnia, find the Charles bit and you'll be asleep in 2 minutes. Performance Days is now over a decade and a half old. It started as a small project that was moving around following the brands that wanted to see it. We moved to Munich over a decade ago, and we started in the world of fashion, and we just had one room. And the idea was that we got similar ingredient suppliers together, and the brands could see 4 or 5 of them in a day, and it was a more efficient day than having 2 or 3 hours per person visiting them at work. We now have 400 exhibitors. It's become really... When I first came, you could zip round it in a day, and you didn't need to book an appointment. Now it's a fully fledged trade show.
Do you think there's a community side to this as well?
There is something very human about meeting up. All the stands are showing what's available now. Most people aren't interested in what's available now. They want to know how it's going to develop, and it's only the face-to-face communication. It's only by looking people in the eye you can see what is feasible, what could happen and what will happen, and also what won't happen. It's the start of a dialogue, and the strongest, most interesting brands always have a partnership with their supply chain going up and their supply chain going down. This enables your supply chain up to happen.
So in essence, it's an application of that quote from William Gibson that says, the future's already here, it's just unevenly distributed.
Perfect.
What's that?
That is, it's amazing.
Am I allowed to touch it?
So Chris, can you tell us what this is? Because it looks like a spacesuit, kind of alien spacesuit, but what does it do? And how did you come up with it?
This project's called Lucid Life, or Mamarama Ora in Tahitian, where I collaborated with people on it. And it's research into living materials. So when we have a synthetic material or a dead material, it's as soon as it's produced, it's constantly degrading, it's wearing away, it's inert. Whereas in nature, things are alive. A tree can live for thousands of years. It's always refreshing and renewing itself. And so this research project is all about how can we make living materials And so what we've done is we've encapsulated tiny little algae into this material. In this case, we've used bioluminescent algae. So you can see, like here, they illuminate. So this material illuminates when it's touched. So as you move, it lights up and it glows. But there's lots of different organisms that you could put in there. And it might be that it might be pharmaceuticals to help with skincare. It might be active water repellency. It might be microbes that, a bit like the skin of a fish. They could release something that helps make it waterproof. And they'll repair, they'll react, they'll respond. So yeah, this is the start of a big research project into living materials and how we can be a bit more symbiotic in all of the things that we're wearing and using on a day-to-day basis.
Very interesting.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And is it still just research, or is there production? And how is it made? What's don't tell us all the secrets, but what is the secret behind it? Is it plastic? Is it a natural material? How long does it last?
At the moment, we're producing it at a lab scale. So we're producing sheets a metre by a metre, roughly. And we're producing them at a small scale. And it's really to start exploring, we don't have any living things in our lives, really. So actually the question is more of how do we interact with it? How do we care for it? How do we maintain it? So it's a long way before being produced in giant rolls and being used in the mass market. But it's, we need to start here and really explore what are the highest value applications, what's the highest potential for living materials in this world.
Okay, thank you.